Every time we do this, it feels like it's been so long.
Really? Yeah. You know, especially after last week being like remote.
Yeah.
I think it feels.
I haven't been sitting at this table in weeks.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's nice. It's good to be back.
It is.
I could do without the bright-ass lights, but
Yeah,
hey.
Off to a good start, you know.
Artist suffering. Oh, yeah, off to...
Burning eyes, burning hair. I don't... Where were you, like...
I was trying
to spit your gum?
I was trying to spit my gum out, but the trash is kind of full, so I was, like, trying to spit over what was already in the trash can, and there's a candle. Yeah, I burnt my hair.
Doesn't look noticeable, though. I think you just got the dead ends. Like, if anything, it did you a favor.
I just burnt the dead ends. You know what? It was beautification. It was on purpose.
Have you heard of burn therapy? So, I thought we'd do a bit of an unconventional start here, but I had a few questions to ask you, so I had 10 questions I ran down that I just wanted to pick your brain on, and everyone out there listening as well could kind of get some insight into how do you feel about these very posing anime questions, like the ones that the people want, that everyone's been meaning to ask and just gotta know. So
okay,
we're gonna pick old Ryan's brain on it. So I have some notes here I'd like you to review.
It's a dick.
I'm sorry. This is that's for something. This is for the anime podcast. Here we are.
It's a dick with an... It's me, Dicko. And it's got an anime face on it.
That's Dio.
Oh,
JoJo.
Okay. I see it now. I was going to say you've got, like, the JoJo things around here.
Yeah. So, now that we've reviewed the notes, let's just get straight into the questions, okay?
Okay.
Let me
You know what? I might want to keep those just in case for reference.
For reference, yeah.
Just
all right. So question number 1 that everyone has been dying to know. Who would win in a fight? Goku or stage 4 kidney failure without proper access to dialysis?
That's a tough one. I'm going to have to go with stage 4 kidney failure without proper dialysis.
Why?
Because if Goku had that, blood no worky.
All right, not the answer I expected, but we'll just keep going through them. Okay, so number 2. Who would win in a fight? Death or your pain tolerance and ability to be stepped on like a ripe grape?
Death.
So she'd take that one.
Oh, yeah,
you
she
tap
wins.
out.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Easy enough. All right, number 3. What if Kirito was an incel? Would he still win?
No.
Elaborate.
Well, I mean, his whole power is, no, I mean, maybe he still would, but I feel like you wouldn't want him to win. You just feel bad about it. He'd still have his skills, but I mean, you wouldn't have all the girls that surround him. So
No,
I think he'd
that's a
still
very fair
win,
point,
but
yeah.
you wouldn't feel good about it.
You almost sort of like rooting against him at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the anti-hero that you're just like, man, can you just lose, please?
I'm sick of looking at you, pal. All right, number 4 is... Sorry, wrong pipe with the Topo Chico here. Is Naruto really an orphan if he has a foxy grandpa? Explain.
I explain what?
I'll repeat the question. Is Naruto really an orphan if he has a foxy grandpa?
No, I guess.
The people need to know, Ryan.
I mean, I guess no, but yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna have to say no because he's got a foxy grandpa. If the grandpa wasn't foxy, though, he'd still be an orphan.
Yeah, I mean, he's a demon fox for a grandfather. I mean,
Yeah.
Not really. Pretty much like a adoptive grandfather,
Is that what it is? I haven't really watched
No, I'm just
a whole lot.
It's just how
He's just granddaddy figure.
yeah, kind of.
to
Yeah,
Naruto.
All right, so Enough of that. Let's get into another number 5 here. Is it really a body pillow if you can't measure its bust size?
That's a good one. That's intriguing. I don't think I have an answer for that one. Because is it a body pillow? I can't be sure.
Or is it just like a pillow with a picture on it?
I think it's just a pillow with a picture on it. It's not a body pillow.
There's no body.
There's no, there's not.
There's a semblance of one, but I think that's as best as you could get.
Yeah, but
if you pull the roller out, and whether they're flat or busty, it's all the same.
If you can't, yeah, I mean, but hey, let's not go talking too down on 2D, 2 dimensions. We don't mind.
Hey, everything could be measured, Ryan.
Fair.
Don't forget that.
Fair.
Let's go on to number 6. Do you think Hatsune Miku smokes cigarettes, and what kind?
I'm getting, well, yes, she definitely does. You can't be that cheery and happy without, dipping out the back of the stage and sucking down a cigarette from time to time. But I'm getting definite, like, Camel Crush vibes.
I kind of see that too, like the color, and there's just something off about her voice, like she's, throwing them back in the stage.
Yeah, she's definitely chain smoking in the green room.
Yeah. All right, number 7 here. Is Mushishi really just schizophrenia, and the mainstream media is afraid to talk about it?
Cut that. Mainstream media is gonna come for us.
It's like welcome to the NHK all over again. But I mean, really, is anyone else even really? He always seems to stop the things before it affects anybody. Like, is there even a thing? Is he just seeing it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it might be schizophrenia in the aspect that, like, he's like a modern person in old-timey Japan. So is he even in that era? Or is he just walking around Tokyo smoking cigarettes saying, like, what is the term I'm looking for? Brooding.
Brooding.
He's in, like, an alleyway, like, waving his hand. They're like, what are you doing? He's like, coexisting.
Excellent answer. All right, number 8. Is it really called Beyond the Boundary since Kiriyama gropes people on public transport?
Does he?
Oh, she. With the red glasses, Kiriyama.
Oh.
Like, is that why it's called Beyond the Boundary? Is she
I think so, yeah. Yeah, she's invading the personal space bubbles.
I always
everybody
wondered.
on the train.
The name didn't make sense until I thought about it that way,
I haven't watched Beyond the Boundary in so long.
Dude, same here. Great show, though. Great show. Check it out. Number 9. Does Class B in My Hero Academia take the short bus to school?
That's like not the main cast, but the
like Class
right?
B, like they're kind of,
I'm going to say no. Because I think the class size is like the same size as Class A, so I think they would need the space. Not saying it changes anything about, like, the state of being of them, but maybe 2 short buses.
Kind of like it's stacked, like it's not necessarily a long bus,
like
it's just 2 short ones, kind of
a short bus with a trailer attached.
Hauling the rest of the students. Sorry, you didn't make main seat today. Hop in the trailer. All right, so here's our last and final question, and perhaps the most important. Number 10. Do you think Crazy Frog was wrongfully excluded from the harem of girls in Monster Matsume?
Yes.
Why?
Come on. Why isn't Crazy Frog not in there? He needs to be in there.
I mean, there's a Naga, there's a snake girl, there's a slime girl.
We need Crazy
Spider
Frog.
Girl. What's wrong with little
representation
Crazy Frog?
for Crazy Frog?
Yeah. Let's hear it, everybody.
Need it.
So, woo, that's our questions. Let's give it up for Crazy Frog. So, these are the questions that every other anime YouTuber is afraid to ask, but I'm just willing to put my foot down and put it out there. So
you're asking the big questions. You're going where everybody else is afraid to go. But I mean,
someone has to do it.
Yeah, mainstream media. They're especially with that Crazy Frog one. They've been trying to put Crazy Frog in the dirt for 10 years.
They just can't kill Crazy Frog.
You can't. I mean, have you seen the video?
Of course, and
He
it's
doesn't.
like,
He's riding an invisible motorcycle. You think you're gonna catch him? No, absolutely.
of course not. And just when you think you've forgotten about Crazy Frog, you see a pregnant Crazy Frog picture being sent to you by your roommate.
I, a fool, sent her one of my soul.
Oh, that picture is so disturbingly funny.
If you know, you know.
If
I haven't showed you any of the recent ones I found, have I?
The last one I think you sent me was the dolphin going inside of the cow.
The horse.
Or the horse, yeah.
West Virginia, Mountain Mama.
Oh.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah. Twitter's a dark place, man.
Yeah.
And I am in the trenches of that fucking website now.
Really?
Yeah, I got there fast. I think once you start liking some of those weird memes, it just kind of is like, oh, we know you.
Yeah.
We'll give you this.
Just a hand comes out of a vortex and starts drawing you in.
It's like, you know, in Full Metal Alchemist, the door of truth, the hands that come out and pull them in.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a meme of that. It's like Twitter.
Yeah.
Just sucking you in there and showing you the truth.
It's like biting the apple of good and evil.
Yeah. It's good. It's good stuff.
It's good.
I highly recommend it. If you want to desensitize yourself a little bit to the happenings of the world, just look at a meme that makes you lose hope. And then you're not going to be upset anymore.
I mean, I made the mistake of turning notifications on for Reddit on my phone, so I'll just be at work, and it'll be something I'm not even interested in. They'll just pick, anything out of a straw hat and, throw it my way. They're like, look at this. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. Well, I mean, have you, I don't know, have you used Reddit pretty consistently? 'Cause you got to kind of let it, curate.
Yeah, I mean, it sends me, I'll say 90% of it is I follow the cemetery subreddit.
Yeah.
So it's just people talking about cemetery.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't need to see this
Typically
right now.
with if you don't use it too much or you only follow a couple subreddits, I would imagine that it probably is just going to send you stuff related to that.
Yeah.
Or stuff that you're not interested in at all because it doesn't have enough information and it wants to send you as many notifications as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
So once you start getting a little deeper into it, you'll probably get some stuff.
Yeah.
I turned that shit off, though. I don't fucking...
Yeah, I'm kind of stuck, too, because it, was oh, you have to decide right now a username or it'll permanently be this in your icon. So I go to change it, and I click something, and now I have a random username and picture I didn't want.
Yeah. I think you can change it.
It said it's permanent.
Can you not change them?
I mean, I could just make a new account at this point.
Yeah, I've never tried to change it, but...
Because this is under no_idea_3017.
That's not a bad name, though.
Yeah, it's really not. I have one karma.
Hell yeah.
I don't even know where he got that one from.
Did
that
you
like a
comment
default?
on something?
I don't remember.
Maybe it is a default. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe you start with one, because I don't think I've done shit on there.
Yeah.
I just ghost.
No, I mean, I've had my Reddit account for 7 years, and I only have 300 karma.
Yeah.
But I am a perpetual lurker.
Yeah.
In all aspects of life. I don't, my introversion doesn't exist only in reality, but also on the internet. I'm fearful of talking to people online.
That's exactly the reason I don't raid in World of Warcraft, is because I was too afraid to ask people if I could join their raid group.
Yeah.
So I just never did it.
Yeah. I used to be fine with it when I was younger, but now it's I get into a Valorant game by myself, if I don't have my boys with me.
Ah.
I get into a Valorant
Forget
game,
it.
and the second somebody tries to talk to me, I just get nervous. And I've told you the story, right, where I was when VR chat was first coming out, and I just want to make it clear, I don't condone VR chat.
I took it off yesterday. I was like, this is still here.
Uninstalled it.
Uninstalled it, yeah.
It's one of those things, it's fun to go in there when you're drunk and you just want to see the oddities of VR chat, but when I first got it when I was living in Prescott, I was like, oh, I'm pretty shit at socializing, so maybe I'll go into this virtual chat room and try to talk to people. And I realized that my social anxiety did not matter if I was physically present or not, because I told you this story before, but I like somehow stumbled across a party that was in this like secret room. You had to like glitch through a door. Everybody was
Yeah.
trying to do it, and it was difficult to do, but once you glitch through the door, it takes you down a staircase, and there was just a bunch of people down there chatting.
Yeah.
And it was that one actually was one of the only non-weird experiences I had. It seemed like a bunch of normal people. But I sat down and like I was terrified. Like I could not talk to people. People would come up to me and because my avatar was a big rat.
Yeah.
And so they would like comment on my avatar, and I was just like, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then they would just walk away because, you know, it's a VR chat party. So.
Oh, yeah.
But that was the day I realized it has nothing to do with me being present. It's just conversation is hard for me. But yeah, VR chat now is, I think, a cesspool of degeneracy.
Yeah. Like, if anything, if I want that feel, or, you know, just to get a taste of it, I'll just go on YouTube and look up people, like vicariously, like them going on VR chat and what they're dealing with, but I won't, like, put myself there, you know?
Me too, yeah. I don't think I haven't logged into VR chat in, like, a year or two. And really, the only times I did was because I had a friend who was really into VR chat.
Yeah.
Was peeping that. They have almost 4,000 hours in VR chat.
Ooh. Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't get on there.
Yeah.
It's not for me. It's funny though, like yeah, living vicariously through the videos of watching people go into VR chat and like see what's going on there is definitely the way to go about it, because doing it yourself is just, it's hard.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I get it in the sense, like, I was watching, because I don't even really look it up, but I got suggested one because I follow this dude's other videos. I think it's like Zhao, or he's the dude that knows fluent Chinese, and he goes to like Chinatown in New York. He didn't even know what VR chat was, but like everyone was like pushing him to do it. So he went on for the first time, but he went onto like a Chinese server and pretended he didn't know Chinese and would just start speaking Chinese to people.
Yeah.
There, it was pretty funny, but like you could tell he was like the normal person in the room because he's like, man, it's kind of getting uncomfortable. It's a little weird in here.
Yeah.
They'd like start like just making random noises and kind of running in circles around him, and he was like, huh, all right.
Yeah. I mean, VR chat is full of weird people, but there's also like a large population of people who are just drunk and fucking around.
Yeah.
And then there's another kind of one, I don't know if they still do, but I know I met years ago when I was first getting on there, I did meet a couple people who were like Norwegian or something, and they were kind of talking about the reason why they use VR chat so much is because the weather is so shitty where they live that it'll like storm badly for days at a time, to the point where they like, it's not worth it to go hang out with their friends, so they just hop on VR chat to hang out. And I was like, okay, that makes sense.
There's utility to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I liked. Excuse me. The only time I like genuinely enjoyed it was the one time I went on. It was the night that we went on, and there was all the craziness. But when you showed me you could get like a private server, we were like chilling in that like loft apartment. You had the TV. You could put lo-fi songs on.
Yeah.
Just hang out. I see the appeal in that. Like if you had private servers, you know.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like going to the public
yeah.
servers, and especially some of like the weird public servers, is like, it's weird.
Yeah.
But if you just hop on and like, if you have a friend that lives across the planet, or if, you know, you just like, you have a VR headset and you guys want to chill and just like kick back, like, I think another cool thing is, and you don't need to use VR chat for these things. Like they have other methods where you can like sit in a movie theater and watch a movie or something, you know, with the VR headset on. And like doing that with friends, if you're distant and everything, it can, you know, it sounds pretty cool. Like I like the concept, but VR chat is definitely just like, it is the 4chan to Reddit in those circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, the tech is cool, but it's like we use Reddit. I mean, Reddit is pretty bad now too, but it's no 4chan, you know, it's not B. quite yet.
And then there's, what is it, 9gag?
Yeah.
That's like the worst, right? That's like below 4chan.
Yeah. I think I'd say 4chan and 9gag are kind of like on similar wavelengths, but 9gag is definitely like where people go for it's the niche, you know?
I feel like if you're kicked off of 4chan,
You go to
you'd
9gag.
swarm to 9gag. Yeah.
Because 4chan has the popularity, but I don't know. Maybe there's lower moderation, so people who get kicked off go over there. But I'm not an avid 4chan or
No.
9gag user, so I don't know the concepts.
You know, and it's funny because I don't really invest into it these days, but years and years ago, had you ever been really involved in like what is the term? It's totally slipping me. Not a boardroom.
Like a chat room?
Not necessarily like before. Not instant. It's what is it slipping me? Like an online community
Forum?
Forum. Have you ever been a part of like a forum for like a sustained amount of time?
No, not really.
Never.
Like maybe a couple months.
Yeah.
But I'm a pretty consistent lurker.
Okay.
Like there's been forums I partook in. I think the only one I was a part of, and it wasn't necessarily so much as a forum, more as it was like a blog.
Yeah.
It was Inuyasha the Moon. And the only reason why I really liked it, it was just somebody who made a website to display their like fan art of Inuyasha.
Okay.
And there was like a comment section and stuff, but the music that they had on the homepage, like once you would land on it, beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was just a bunch of Inuyasha fan art. And I don't know if it was necessarily all theirs. I think it was just like, it was a group of people who shared their collective. And me and Forrest were really into drawing fan art when we were kids. So
yeah.
both me and him would just kind of like, you know, every day we'd be like, hey man, you want to check Inuyasha the Moon? You know, and we'd sit
That's
there
so
and
cool.
like listen to the beautiful music and check out the fan art. But I think that's the only one I was consistently a part of.
Is the website still around?
No.
You've looked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Both me and Forrest, anytime we get drunk and talk about Inuyasha, we're like, dude, you think Inuyasha the Moon still exists? And we try to find it, and we never find it.
It's a shame.
It's some weird. It's like inuyashathemoon.ce.us
Right.
UN something. It's like some weird other country's browser
Yeah.
or domain. But I did when I first got Crunchyroll like 10 plus years ago. I did try to kind of like become active on the forums there. You know, I tried to like reply to people, and I had met a couple people and like exchanged messages and stuff, but I don't know if it's ADHD or just a general lack of care to socialize. But
Yeah.
I just always fall off of those things so quickly.
Right. I mean, I'd spent 2 years active on a forum. This was like 6th to 8th grade. It was middle school, but it's called beardeddragons.org. And we talked about bearded dragons, care tips, you know, experiences. There was other reptiles. It was all encompassing, but obviously mostly about bearded dragons. But like, I remember I would just look forward to like coming home from school and just hopping on and like chatting with people. Hey, you try that new, you know, you try feeding your bearded dragon silkworms instead of crickets today, you know? And it was just, it felt like you're like a part of something. I was young. I'd like argue with people.
Yeah.
They're like adults. Like, that's not how you take care of a bearded dragon, damn it. You know, and I'm like 12.
Yeah.
They're getting upset, you know. I'm getting upset.
Everybody loves a good internet argument from time to time.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, after a couple of years, fell off of that one. And then major lurking. I didn't really post, but there's one called Style Zeitgeist, which was like kind of like a really niche, like, it was like the darkware avant-garde. Like if you wanted to look like you're a Sith Lord,
Yeah.
or like a goth ninja, as they termed it at the time, like you'd go to that website. It was just them talking shit on like all of mainstream fashion. It's like, no, real fashion is dark and leather and obscure. Which I like, didn't. I was too intimidated to post, but I did work a ton. I'd spent a lot of time on that website.
Yeah.
But that and just Blizzard. I was on some Warcraft forums for a bit, but
Yeah.
a little shorter lived, you know.
I was occasionally on the Warcraft forums, but I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. It was more so just like when I was like looking up quest help and stuff like that.
Right.
And
There's mostly
posted a couple times.
in-game chat, you know.
Yeah.
So
And I think another reason why I may not have like gone to the forum aspect of things was because like I had friends on like MSN Messenger and stuff.
Right.
So I had like a little chat group between me and all of my friends, and that's where I would go, I'd get out of school and I'd be like, all right, guys, I got to go home. And then I'd go and, there was no voice chat. There was, but like we as kids didn't have voice chat. We would just type the whole time, You have all the emotes. You change your name and like status and profile picture and stuff, You remember how MSN Messenger, you could like, it was like the status that eventually came to other social medias and stuff, but it's like you just 20 times throughout the night, you'd put like new song lyrics in there or something and people could see it.
Yeah.
It was cool. I miss those days.
Oh, yeah. And I think it leads to an excellent point, and it's kind of like the death of forums now. I won't say necessarily the death, but it's not growing, So I think now it's easier to find individuals, and you see a lot of like group chats, like I'm in a lot of group chats and like Instagram where it's like I've never met the people IRL, but like it will be 20 of us talking about something, where before, back in the day, I feel like forums were for if you didn't have like IRL friends that shared your interest, but you wanted to have that, community and communication aspect of like, hey, I could talk to other people about this because I obviously won't find them around here. You'd hop on a forum, I mean,
it's kind of the same thing. It's just like I think the name, like the labeling has changed, but like that's what Reddit is. They're message boards,
Yeah.
like 4chan, Reddit. Forums not so much, because forums are like the niche things, It's like if somebody has a question about videography or like has a question about audio engineering, you're gonna go to like the Image Line forums if you have an account there and stuff, and you can talk to other people who work in that studio and know like the methods of it and everything. But as far as just like socializing with topics that you're interested in, like there's a subreddit for fucking everything.
It's kind of like the encyclopedia of forums.
Yeah.
In that case,
It's not just one specific forum for this thing. It's like you just go on Reddit and you go to a subreddit, and it's a message board. It's basically the same thing. It's just slightly different enough so to deem a new label.
And I just noticed I feel so behind the times because I would be a part of like a lot of individual ones, but I never really hopped onto Reddit or like posted I'd work on there, but I'd be on like 7string.org talking about like instruments and music, or Fragrantica, talk about fragrances. And I'm sure Reddit has all of this.
Yeah.
I could just go on Reddit, but I always seeked out these individual niche forums, I guess just because like that's what I knew growing up.
Yeah.
So I'm just stuck in my old ways. But
yeah, I mean, there's a subreddit for everything. You can find all of that and talk to people who are also interested in those things. And 90% of the time, like if I have a question about something, I'll just look up the question and put Reddit at the end.
Yeah, I do that too.
Like
I do that. Yeah.
r/audio engineering, or r/beat makers, or r/producer, r/video editing. It's that's where you go. I feel like you find the best answers because you get a lot of different accounts of people like stating their experience and telling you how to do things, and it's pretty cool.
The only thing that gets me, and it's not necessarily, I wouldn't call it etiquette, but there just seems to be this kind of fourth wall broken of like being on Reddit. Everyone's self-aware that they're a Redditor, in the sense that like if someone posts, they're like, oh, well, they don't have that much post history. Like karma and things, all that come into account, where I don't really see that on other forums as much, where it's like, oh, this guy doesn't post enough, or like, it's almost, it feels like there's more boxes to check, more requirements to be a part of a Reddit community than there is like just a basic forum where you can hop on, bump something from 10 years ago, and people will start talking about it again without getting pissed off,
Yeah, it's like a vetting process for some subreddits where like you need a certain amount of karma to post. Like you can view it. I mean, some of them I think you even need a certain amount of karma to view.
Wow.
But it's like it's a vetting process for some people who, have a category that maybe it's getting overloaded with people who don't know what they're talking about. So, or like bot accounts or something.
Yeah.
So they make a karma requirement that like, you need to at least have been like interactive. They don't want people just posting. Like if you're not somebody who posts and partakes in the conversation on Reddit, they don't want you to just randomly post. you know?
Right,
They
right.
want somebody to come in who is interactive in that space, and it's kind of like a vetting process.
So it's like to keep it clean.
Yeah.
You know?
For the most part.
Yeah.
Or they keep people out because it's a subreddit of something that like maybe is a bad thing, and they don't want a bunch of bot accounts coming in there, and or maybe not even bot accounts, but just like large scale people going in there and saying like how fucked up it is.
Right. Because I
there's
think
just pretty bad subreddits.
Yeah, it goes both ways. There can't be a perfect system in place because I think, of course, the vetting is necessary to some extent, like you said, to wean out bots and like people that don't really contribute. But at the same time, I think some people use it as a power trip of like gatekeeping.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you have to like be a part of it. You can't just join this just like that,
Yeah.
That's the part I don't appreciate as much, but that's very exclusive to certain.
You're gonna have
subreddits.
that everywhere.
It's
though.
everywhere. Every forum, there's always going to be the gatekeeper, the elitist.
There's gonna be that dude on there who's like got all the icons and stuff, and is like an admin, and is just gonna, kind of have that god complex of I'm better because I've been here longer, and you don't know what we went through. The Great Forum War of 2007.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
I don't know. That's just the internet. You're always going to have the gatekeepers and weirdos.
That's a
and
part of the
people like
process.
that, yeah.
It's all like an ecosystem that.
That's why I'm more so like, I'm not a part of any like main discords. Like I've tried all these things, like I tried the forums, I tried the Reddits and stuff. It's like, I'm just meant to lurk,
Yeah.
I joined a couple discords and tried to like talk to people, and it's just not for me.
Yeah.
It's just not. All the times I've tried to like not be an antisocial introvert have just failed. So
Right.
it's not for me.
Yeah.
But hey, some people do it, and that's cool. But at least I don't have to deal with all the negatives that come with it as well.
Yeah, that's why I enjoy working, because you get the taste. It's like, it's not the full immersion, but sometimes once you're in, you're too far gone.
Yeah.
I was a part of. I remember it was like Arizona Music Exchange on Facebook. This is like way back in the day.
I think I
when we were
remember that.
teenagers.
Yeah.
Dude, I'd get bullied so hard on there.
Yeah.
It sucked. It sucked. I like hopped off so quick. I'm like, this is not what I thought it would be,
Yeah. That's another thing is like, there is a pretty good chance that you find this thing that you're interested in, and you find a community of people who are also interested in it, and then you go to like talk about it because you're like, oh yeah, I like this thing too, and then they shit on you because you don't like it the right way.
Yeah.
Or you don't like the right things about it,
Part of it too is I think there should almost be an age limit. Like I was a teenager going on this forum, like, 14, 15.
Mm.
And you're a know-it-all too when you're that age, And sometimes I would instigate, I'd be like, obviously, it's like this, almost asking for it. So I think we grow out of that.
I think I was more so like always nervous because like I desperately wanted people to like me.
Yeah.
And like there were so few opportunities for me to like interject with an opinion or be able to talk about something that I was interested in, that like I was always afraid to talk or post or do any of that because I was I didn't want the one time and like weeks of being in these communities of being like, oh yeah, this is finally something I can talk about, and then I'd be like, well, what if they hate me?
Yeah.
Like I could just stay a lurker and nobody knows who I am and I get to be a part of the community, or I talk, they hate me, and then I feel ostracized and I have to leave.
Yeah.
So I think that's what kind of like prevented me from ever posting. I don't think I've ever really instigated any online arguments on my own.
Right.
If other people were involved and like you know, we were together and somebody was like commenting on somebody's Facebook status, I might go in there and I'll be like, yeah, you fucking suck. But
yeah, I mean, it's not, how do I put it? It wasn't like looking for an argument. It's kind of like you said, you don't know how to include yourself, and you want to seem like you contribute,
Yeah.
you're valuable, and
you're 14 and you feel like you're intelligent and you have something to offer the world.
right.
But
And
what
then
you don't know is these guys are like 30-year-olds who like have experience in this field, and they're going to tell you you're wrong.
exactly. So you don't go in looking for an argument, but you put your thoughts out there. And then even though you're wrong, you defend your point because you don't want to seem stupid.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I caught myself doing a lot. Like, I remember, it's so vivid to me, and it's funny because it was, you know, like 13, 14 years ago now. But there was a guy saying, like, oh, yeah, I'm looking to be either, like, a guitarist or a bassist for a band. You know, hit me up. And I was like, oh, well, I'm just a bassist, you know? Like, you should either be, like, a guitarist or a bassist, you know? And
Yeah.
thinking, like, oh, like, you know, this gives me some value by saying, like, oh, well, I'm just a bassist, you know, and
Like,
just being
just
an
pick
idiot
one.
kid. Yeah, like, you know, you can't be a master of both, you know? And I got flamed so hard, understandably, but yeah, it's just like, what did I do wrong? I didn't understand it then, and then
Yeah.
never posted again because they're criticizing how it, because I wasn't really criticizing him, like, you know, deeply. I was just saying, like, oh, you know, you should be one or the other, but like they were like commenting on how I looked, you know,
Yeah.
like tore me apart from everything, my appearance and, you know, name and like anything they could like pick out. They were just like brutal. And I was like, damn, like I didn't think I warranted that much. And
Welcome to the internet.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm fearful of ever like being a part of anything on the internet, because I think I've always kind of known. I was like, it can go the opposite direction real quick.
Yeah.
That's why in Warcraft I never voice chatted like in raids and stuff, because I knew once somebody heard I was a kid, there was gonna be somebody who like gave me shit about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want that, because nobody ever knew I was a kid. I mean, when I would type and stuff, they would just be like, hey, man, you should join voice chat so we can talk to you. And I'd be like, I type fast, I promise. Like, we're fine. You
Yeah.
know, I have a squeaky voice. I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. Fuck the internet. But also, it's cool. But can we talk about that fucking manga you made me read?
Yes. So it was a one-shot called
Goodbye, Eri.
Goodbye Eri. It was totally slipping me for a second. It was created by the same author who made the much beloved and anticipated Chainsaw Man. And it's I believe 200 panels in completion, but
Yeah.
it's supposed to be this July that a hard copy version comes out, or like a physical copy, I should say, in Japan. So I don't know when we'll see a translated English version. We might soon thereafter, maybe like looking at fall, you know, maybe after the summer. But man, it is. I was just reading it earlier before we were set up for the video, and I'm like, dude, like you need to read this before we go on.
It definitely leaves a lot to interpretation. Also, the mangaka or whatever the author's name is, Tatsuki Fujimoto.
Okay, so
right, Tatsuki Fujimoto.
Okay, so good to know. And yeah, it's basically, without giving too much of it away because it is a very, very short story. But even it's funny to say, like, I could tell you in entirety what happens, but you still wouldn't know what happens.
Yeah.
It's very much left up to interpretation, and there's so many like theories and this and that, but the thing is, I don't think there is an answer. I think it's meant to be.
It's entirely how you want to view it. It doesn't really have a definitive point or anything. It's because it's like framed in the perspective of like it's somebody recording on their phone, making like a movie, and you never really know what's real and what's not. It's very similar in style to like Perfect Blue. It's like you never really know what's real or what's a part of the show, you know, when she's acting, or is she an idol, or any of this. It's like it's very similar in that sense of you don't know if it's all the movie, or if there's certain parts that are the reality, and there's certain part. It doesn't have a hard transition. It just kind of gives you all the information, and then you make of it what you want. But it was really interesting to read. Like through the beginning, I was like, man, this is kind of heavy.
Yeah, and then explosion.
That change and switch up and stuff, like with the mom.
Yeah.
Like you have this idea, and then later on in the story, it like tells you a different representation that you're like, wait, this isn't what I was told.
Yeah, and it really bridges on, I think, the interpretations we have in reality of, you know, much beloved actors and actresses, where in their passing we'll remember them as their role, but not necessarily the physical entity they were, like the actual person. That we have this idealism of, oh, Robin Williams was just like his character, but the reality is most of us don't know how Robin Williams actually was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we remember him by his role in portrayed in movies. So it kind of touches on that, where you see people in a light where they're recorded and almost kind of acting, you know, putting on a face, and you never knew what was behind the scenes. It's the course of like 3 movies.
Yeah.
And you don't even know if the other movies are a part of another movie.
It could be one.
It could all be one movie.
Be 3. Yeah. It could be like 3 and bits of reality, or just the 3. It's very it's very strange, but it's entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely kept me engaged. Like, I wanted to see what happened. It did feel a little kind of like all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, like that confusion, but I feel like that was necessary to like keep you questioning like where you were at, you know?
Yeah.
Because once you started to pick up on the fact that they were going to subvert your expectation of like what was real and what was fiction, you were kind of always on edge of like, is this a part of it? Is this a part of it?
It's a hard reset every time, you know?
The conversation with the dad, and then they go into like, were those lines good? You know?
That part got me.
Yeah.
Whereas like it felt so real, and he's like, was that good? You know? Then he had said something that was really him speaking, and he's like, oh, should we get another take of that?
He was like, that was a good line. Should we do another take of that? And then, it's those subtleties of like, it seems like it's like all over the place and it's hard to follow, but when you really like focus on those small aspects of it, you start to see the intention, you know, that like this chaotic nature of the storytelling is intentional. It's not just a bunch of ideas thrown together. It's thrown together to put you in a state that makes you think they're thrown together. But it is like it does carry an intention behind it. And I didn't even think about it until I just brought it up, but it is very similar concept-wise to Perfect Blue.
Yeah.
Like that is like it's the subversion of expectation. That is what it is. And it's so funny because me and Forrest were just talking about this last night of how I love a story like that, because you think you know what's going on, and then it just kind of leaves you with like, in typical manga or anime, you know, you can always, there's those dime a dozens where you can see where the character development is going, and you know exactly what's going to happen in this show. You've seen 10 others just like it.
Yeah.
But to have something like this that leaves you in such a state of, what the fuck did I just read?
Yeah.
Like, what? I love that feeling because it's so visceral, you know? Yeah, like it makes you feel something. And maybe you wanted it to end a certain way, but you will never get that closure.
No. It's all just what you make of it. And I think that's why we give such high praise to titles like Welcome to the NHK. I think portrays a little bit of that, maybe to not such an extreme.
Yeah,
but like
definitely lighter, but I see where
but when he's seeing things, you know, is he really seeing them? Or, you know, it's and then, you know, I think Lane is a perfect example of that, because that one is, I bring that up like every episode. You can see my love for it, but I think it just really, you think it's about this girl and her school life, and I would suggest finishing that one if you ever have the chance, because like it's like you said, subverting, you know, to a T. Or
It's things like I think one of the standards that's more widely, like the mainstream standard is J- Death Note.
Yeah.
That's the one. It's like it's it is like a thriller and kind of
Yeah.
detective based whatever. But it's
Yeah.
like the ending of Death Note is like something that you're like, oh, everything I know about things like this and this style of media of anime and everything is like they're not gonna do this. And then how Death Note ends. I know it's been years. You guys should be finished. But at the same time, I haven't finished Lane, so I can't begrudge anybody, so I'm not going to say anything. But
Yeah.
it has that subversion to it, and I think that's kind of like the standard is, everybody kind of, I've heard a couple people make jokes about it, but it's basically like you can take Death Note, and how long of a string do you have to connect it to the other thing,
Right.
It all comes back to Death Note for some reason. It's
Yeah, and, I am pleased to say there are a lot of newer titles too. You think of really Attack on Titan kind of falls into that, wouldn't you say? Where
me and Forrest, that was
Yeah.
what started the conversation. Was we were talking about The Last of Us, and then he was talking about Attack on Titan, and then we went into this Death Note conversation. It's Attack on Titan is definitely
probably
one
the
of
most
them.
popular example.
Psycho Pass is another one.
Even in games, Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You don't know what if you. I think it's been out long enough now. People kind of know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
If they're picking the game up. But for the early adopters that are like, oh, this looks cute. Imagine having no clue. Because I think even before we started, we kind of knew what it would be about.
I didn't.
Like at all?
The first time I played it, I just heard everybody was saying like you got to play this. It's crazy.
So you didn't know there was a twist or anything?
I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was just a really good visual novel that was groundbreaking and people were talking about it. And I was like, oh shit, well it's free. Okay, like I'll play it.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. That first failure of the game.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I got to see this through, and it just kept getting weirder and weirder. And it's like one of those things, the thing I was explaining to Forrest last night is like they tell these stories in such a way that once you're finished with them, you can go back to the beginning and it's so clear the direction they were going. It's like they gave you the answer. They put it right in front of you.
Yeah.
But you didn't have because of your understanding of how you thought it was going to go, you didn't pay attention. The writing was on the walls, but you just weren't looking at it. It was right in front of you.
It's toying you.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
And that's one of the things I love about it is that it's so honest in the beginning. You can't see it until you understand. And it's things like that I really enjoy because I don't know, I feel like it's hard to write a story like that. You can take the cookie cutter, this is like exposition, you got the rise and the climax and the
hero's journey.
Yeah, like you have so many tropes that you can use to tell a good story, a story that is enjoyable. But to do something that takes that and they're like, we're going to change it up, and they show you the change, but you can't see it because of what you're used to. It's like I'm constantly fooled by it time and time again.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love having my expectations just completely wrong. It's awesome.
I love something that you watch and it's not easy to skip to the next thing, where you have to sit there and digest it for a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you watch something, you sit on it, you have to think about it, kind of take it in, like, how do I feel about this? What do I think about this? You start looking at other people's thoughts. That's when you do look it up on Reddit. You're like, Reddit ending explained, you know? See what other people have to say about it, kind of form your own opinion. And it's more challenging than, insert isekai here, where it's like you said, you could kind of anticipate what the next step's going to be.
And we've talked about it before, and I think it's kind of funny that something like this that doesn't have a definitive end or like, basically force-given closure to the show. It's like in situations like that, like the dime a dozen isekai, it has the closure, story ends, you have your definitive end, but then it leaves you wanting more, and you're looking to fill that hole. That's that post-anime depression we talked about. But it's strange that with something that doesn't have a definitive end, I don't get that feeling. I sit and I want to think about it, and I want to
Yeah.
continue processing like what I just experienced. It's just kind of strange to have like something that gives you closure doesn't satisfy you, and you have to go find something to fill the void. Something that doesn't give you closure just piques your interest and wants to make you think about it more. It's so weird how that's completely flipped in like reality of like if something happens, you need closure. If you don't get that closure, then you're going to be looking to fill it, you know, you're going to be looking to avoid it. But it's strange. It's strange how that works.
Really, that is an excellent way to put it.
Yeah.
When you think about it, like you sit there, and all I can think about is I just want to share it. I want someone else to experience what I just experienced.
Yeah.
I want to know what other people think about it, to almost validate your own thoughts on it, because when you're left alone with something like this and you have no one to talk to about it, you're stuck in your own thoughts. You're confused. You're like, the fuck did I just read or watch? You know,
it's great because you
Yeah.
can take two people who experience the same story, but they can draw completely different conclusions from it.
That's why I love reading what people have to say about it after, because you see all these other outcomes and people are so sure of their thoughts on it, but you're just like, wow, like people could take this one singular thing and take so many different interpretations from it. You know, it just adds to it. I think.
It's nice.
Mhm.
I liked it. So do you think it was all just a movie? I like to think it wasn't. I like to think it was all recorded and it was a movie, but I like to think that everything we were shown was the reality.
I would like to think that as well, but it's interesting. There is a timely explosion at the end, which is usually the case for his movies. But God, I don't know.
But it could just be added in, That was
It
just the
could
pinch
be.
of fantasy, because it is like, I'm saying that the whole thing was the movie, but I think the movie wasn't planned out other than the planning inside of the writing.
Well,
I think it was like literally up until that last explosion. I think everything was what happened naturally. And then because we are getting the final product, explosion was added in post.
Well,
that's how I like to think about it.
Here's what adds to that thought, because I can't just end it on, oh, well, there was the explosion, so that denotes, it's a movie, because what was her name again? Eri. When Eri makes a quote saying the reason she appreciates the films is because of the fantastical elements added to it.
Yeah.
So that would be to say anything vampiric in nature was not a fantasy element, that it was a reality, and the explosion was to add a fantasy element to that,
Yeah.
So it goes to there's so many ways you could take that,
Yeah.
Was that the fantasy? Was the explosion the fantasy? Like, was it the dad doing a portrayal? Was it him older? There's so many ways you could look at it, where I think the author did so well to write it in such a way to leave the individual to mind map their own conclusions. Well, obviously it's this because, the dad said this or she said this, but it's like he leaves a fork in the road. It's not like a clear conclusion where it's like you could take any of it and form a...
You can pretty much take any part of the story and use it as an argument for why what you think it is works.
All in a 200-panel one-off.
Yeah.
What a level.
Plenty of switches and confusion just to keep you interested. And it was great. I highly recommend it. It took me like 20, 30 minutes to read, and it was well worth it. Tatsuki what the fuck is his name? Fujimoto.
And you look at even the naysayers, it's so polarizing and like provocative because there's nothing definitive. Some people were just like, this is bullshit, man.
Yeah.
I don't know I hate stuff like this. I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they don't get that kind of clear-cut ending like you're talking about, where it's like you have the conclusion, now you want more,
then they're just left in...
They're just pissed off.
Yeah, well, there was a word. I haven't been so bad with words lately, but yeah, they're just left in that state, and they're just like, man, fuck this. Like,
No one's
I
gently
just wanted
waking
to
up
be done.
the hamster spinning the wheel. It got like an adrenaline shot, and it's
Yeah.
like "Ring," spinning, and they're like, I don't like this.
I don't like to think. No. Yeah, I love it though. It was actually really cool, and you made me want to watch read Fire Punch.
Yeah, and
'Cause that
I haven't
sounds
read it
sick.
either. Just someone gave
Yeah.
a quick synopsis on it, but I'm like, they said it's rough though, like rough in the sense it's very like heavy, like this.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
But I'm saying for anyone listening right now, like
Yeah.
this
If you don't like the heavy,
this is. I would argue heavier than like Goblin Slayer. Or
I was
like,
gonna say if Your Lie in April is too much for you, maybe stay away from it.
Yeah.
At that point too, stay away from Goodbye Eri though, because that whole beginning part, I was like, this is depressing.
Yeah.
And then it started to get into the actual story, and I like, once that first explosion happened, I was like, what the fuck? And then it showcased the movie and stuff, and I was like, okay, I see. Because I thought that was gonna be the end, because you said it was like a 20-minute read, and I was like, oh, I must have just read it fast. And then it went into the second set of like storyline. I'm like, oh, cool, okay, all right.
Yeah.
And then I started getting really interested. At the beginning, I was like, this is really good, but it's pretty depressing.
And everything just seems so real at all times. Like even the relationship that's developed, like this budding romance, and oh, you're not filming the kiss, are you? Oh, let's just get one. And it's like, yeah, portrayed, played as a girlfriend, wasn't really a girlfriend,
Yeah.
Maybe
Real girlfriend.
we don't know.
Acting girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? But that's all to you. That's all
Yeah.
for you to decide. Whatever you think makes the story better is how you can view the story.
Right.
It's cool. I like it. Any other closing thoughts on that? What do we got? What do we got for time? Can you see it? 57 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Any closing thoughts on Goodbye Eri before we say goodbye Eri?
All I could say is read it for yourself at this point. We've said enough, I think. Like, there's nothing left to say without you experiencing it and kind of forming your own opinion on it.
And even if we went through like the specifics of what happens in the story, we would be saying the same things that we've already said.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool, because we can talk about it like this, and it doesn't really give anything about the story away, because the thing about the story is that you can make whatever you want of it, but the thing that makes it good is this capability it has to take you through a story that you have to make your own judgments about what's happening.
It's almost spoil proof.
Yeah.
Like, it's unspoilable.
Yeah.
Like, you could give it out verbatim right now, and you would still have to read it to make sense, any sense of it.
To make your own sense of it. We can tell you what we think about it, but we tell you what we think about it, and then you go read it, and you're going to have a completely different, comprehension.
20 minutes to 30 minutes, easy read. I will say this as a closing thought. If you have the opportunity to read it, let us down in the comments what you think about it. If you're on our YouTube platform, Spotify listeners, thank you as well. If you could head over to YouTube and leave a comment if you happen to listen to this on another platform. But just we'd like to know what you guys think, because we're still kind of finding that out ourselves. So, all right, Grand Crew, baby.
You every time
What?
the bottle cap just goes on the floor. Last time you just threw the fucking
This is dark.
6-pack thing. You just have no care for it. Oh wait, I'm gonna wait. I was just going for it.
There, you get one more.
I'm gonna get a little more in there. Yeah. Fill daddy up. I'm sorry. Cut that. Cut that.
Wait, why am I passing you?
I was gonna say I already grabbed it.
Cheers.
Try it out. Yeah, that's dark and heady.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You cannot see through this. Did you already try it?
Kind of like a pleasurable sensation in a dark room.
Is it a sour? That's pretty good though. The
This
first
is like-
initial hit is a little intense, but
It's like a better version of that nacho one.
Yeah.
Like
No.
if that one was palatable.
I knew it tasted familiar. Yes, this is a palatable version of Do You Like Spicy Nachos?
Yeah, I was kind of scared at first just looking at the color of it. Not that that kind of thing matters, you know. I mean,
What?
anyways, I'm going to get back to it. So,
It's pretty good.
yeah, it is pretty good.
I like it. I was gonna say before you mentioned the spicy nachos thing. Oh God. That it tastes like I'm not a huge fan of stouts. But
Yeah.
like it tastes. It's to me like is it a stout? What is it?
So,
It tastes kind of like a good stout. That's how I describe
Monk's
it.
Cafe Grand Cru is a blend of aged and freshly brewed Tripel Ales.
Precisely.
Precisely. Absolutely. The brewmaster has selected his finest Tripel to age for 3 years. Just before bottling, a high fermented lager is blended in to reach an approachable ABV of 5.5%. So it seems like it's like a Belgian triple and a lager kind of combined, different ages. Interesting.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Grand Cru, huh? We're gonna sail the Grand Cru for the one part.
You know, I have to shout out to a client that actually gave this to me because he gets a 4-pack from Total Wine, like a variety pack, but it always has this one. And he doesn't like sours. So he just brought all of them to me. He's like, bro, you could have these. So he knows I'm into sour beer. So
This one's pretty good.
yeah.
I like it. For being a dark, cloudy beer with that thick head and everything, you think it's...
Yeah, that head game thick.
It can be a little concerning. Did you like my joke, by the way?
Which one?
I said we're going to sail the Grand Cru and search for the one part.
Oh.
The Grand Line from One Piece.
Yeah, I think it whooshed me.
I just wanted to
about the
re-get it
beer.
in there.
Yeah, no, I could really appreciate that now that you've reiterated it because it missed me the first time.
My name's Lofi.
Lofi. Just a budget like version.
Yeah. That's funny, like the knockoff brand. It's like Whack Donald's or something.
Single piece.
Yeah, a single piece probably would have been better.
Yeah.
That's just fuck.
Fuck.
God damn it. Oh God. Well, I like. Yeah, I like that, and that's coming from me, a non-sour boy.
Yeah. Non-sour boy.
Recommend it. I have a coworker who doesn't drink very much because they're a little younger, but I was recommending because they've only tried things like Bud Light, Rolling Rocks, stuff like that.
Yeah,
And they're like, I don't really like beers, and I'm like, I'm not a big fan of them, but if you don't like the beer flavor, you should try some sours or like a strawberry blonde or something because those have a lot more of a you're definitely still gonna taste that kind of like beery, hoppy alcohol taste, but like they have more of a flavor that I think people who aren't interested in beer can enjoy. There's something out there for everybody, I think, when it comes to craft beer.
Yeah, I mean, talking to Forrest yesterday, he'd mentioned that he tried something over here last time. You gave it to him. He said it kind of tasted like Girl Scout cookies or Thin Mints or I don't know. He said it was delicious, and he's like,
I can't remember what it was. It was they were frozen though, so we couldn't drink them.
yeah. He said he just got a sip of the slush.
I think it was the white chocolate ones.
That's what I thought it was because I was like Girl Scout cookie. Like I would have remembered that, but I was like, oh, it could have been the Sonoran, maybe the white chocolate. But he said it tasted incredible.
Yeah, I think it was those ones.
And he's just like, man, like all I've known is just just like basic like Coors, PBR and stuff. But he's like, there's some like really good tasting beer out there.
Yeah,
and he just hasn't explored yet. So I said,
broaden your horizons.
Yeah, we'll initiate him a bit.
Yeah, get some beers that you enjoy. That's why I've been buying a lot of the Japanese beers lately. And when I went out with my brother last night, he got a Coors at Tomo.
That's like blasphemy,
yeah,
bro.
I got a Kirin, and I you know, it comes with a glass, but I just drink it out of the bottle. So I poured some for him and made him try it. And he was like, I actually really like that. I was like, it's not a crazy beer. It's just dry, you know, it's just standard beer.
Yeah.
You get a little more of that hoppy, beery flavor, but you don't have, it's not like overwhelming, you know, because I feel like when you say that for a lot of people, especially people who know me, is like they go from drinking Coors to me giving them like a double IPA, and I'm like, bro, try this. And they're like, oh, that tastes like metal. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So anytime you say those like hoppy flavors and stuff, they're like, oh no, I don't like those. Like, no, you know, just go down a couple pegs. You don't have to, you know, go to the IPA, but get something that's not beer water and not IPA, like pale ales, you know, like get something in the middle that is flavorful and you can actually taste the hops and everything, and they are good. You know,
Right.
There are good flavors out there. You just got to find them.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to in a previous video, but I was just thinking about when you're talking about Kieran, you know, I've been on that kick about Harlan, man. I've been wanting some more of that since we drank it.
Some Harlan?
That was the Japanese style lager that was from California.
Oh, yeah.
Harlan, I believe it was Harlan Brewing, but that was like first in a while where I like drank it and I was like, man, like I really want something like right after because we killed that one, you know?
Yeah.
We only had 2.
Those ones are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd take those again. I love Japanese style beers.
Yeah.
Though, because it is like the, you know, instead of getting like Coors or something, you can get your dry, like after a long day of work, coming home and cracking a beer. Like that's what I want. It's just like a dry beer flavor.
I'm thinking of when you were picking up the Sapporo the other day, you said you wanted to have them so you could do the thing.
What thing?
Like the...
Oh, yeah.
Imagine doing that at like Tomo. And everyone's
Right.
like, what the fuck is this, guys? Doesn't this happen in Japan? It's like, bro, that's anime.
Yeah, no, I would never fucking do that.
The American version would be like, sheesh.
Doing a dab.
Yeah.
Oh,
God.
that would be like the high schooler equivalent.
Yeah.
I feel like the American adult one would be like taking a drink and then yelling at your wife.
Speaking of, you know what pisses me off about high schoolers? I've been seeing so many, bro, with the same fucking Crocs with like the buttons on them.
Yeah.
It'll be like Lilo and Stitch and then like
Customizable.
fucking, yeah.
I hate Crocs.
They just piss me off, man, because I see them so much. It's like overstimulation, you know? Show me something else besides the Crocs.
Yeah.
Crocs are not inherently evil, but on such a scale, it just wasn't meant to be. I'm saying, bro, if you're an Aussie fly fisherman and you're going out there and you need some water shoes, you're picking up an old pair of Crocs. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
they're utilitarian, so they're not inherently evil with their intended purpose. But if you're just wearing sweats and Crocs out, feeling like you're dressed up to paint the town red, like,
I don't think utilitarian means utility.
yes, it does.
Does
yeah.
it?
Yeah, if something's
I thought utilitarian was like some like form of government tyranny.
No. Like if something's like utilitarian, like
It has utility.
it has utility. Yeah, it's like the way of saying
What am I
like
thinking of?
something's aesthetic. You know,
I'm thinking of something else, maybe, but
I think I know you are,
yeah.
and I could imagine it. Yeah,
Utilitarian. Totalitarian.
totalitarian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crocs are very totalitarian.
Yeah. I just think Crocs are very totalitarian, and I don't really support communism.
Crockinism.
Crockinism. Yeah, I fucking hate Crocs. So, like,
Have you read the book by Croc Marx?
Carl Crocs.
Carl Crocs. What's up, Carl Crocs?
I just think he had a point. It's like the utility of the Crocs is just like whoever doesn't wear Crocs should be put to death.
The totality of the Crocs. It's just Croctality.
The subtotal.
The subtotal of the Crocs is way too damn high.
It just subtotals your expectation.
Keep
you know?
my Croc's name out your fucking.
Wow, we're really just
Yeah,
like
this
speed
is-
firing
this
this
is getting,
shit
like-
right now.
This is getting deep fried. We need to tone it down a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think you know, we prematurely ended and we got to try. Is there any more? in
Yeah,
that?
per usual.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. Dude, same.
I think there's a little. There might be a piddle. Let's try it. Oh, look at that.
That's not.
Splooge.
That's not.
That's a very
worth it.
familiar pour, isn't it?
That's the 10th time in the day, and you're just squeezing the rest out. Maybe now's a
It's
good
like
time.
the drop doesn't leave the faucet.
They turned my water off biologically.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can finally get rid of us. We're actually
Yeah.
closing this up. Cue that explosion.